Today I'm here with Mick Leggett from Crosskeys Homes. He's the Chief Executive, and he's just here to talk to us a little bit about his role and what he does within Peterborough. And his views on Peterborough as a city developing moving forward, really. So, Mick, thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about your history, a potted history as such?
My history? I've been in Peterborough for 10 years.
Okay.
I came here to lead on the discussions on behalf of the council with tenants. They are the council tenants, to try and to explain to them the benefits of moving over to what is now Crosskeys Homes, and we went through a process of them voting for Crosskeys Homes. Before I came to Peterborough, I lived in Norwich for a couple of years. Before that, I was an Essex boy for a long time.
Okay.
Lived in North Essex.
Right.
And was sort of started my housing career there. It was not really a great calling. It just turned to be an opportunity for some more money.
Right.
From where I started when I left school was Thomas Cook, the travel agent. So
okay.
Holidays over the council.
So in terms of Crosskeys, where you are at now, how big as such, just to give everybody an idea of how big Crosskeys actually is and what it controls?
We've got 10,000 homes, near enough, 1,000 leaseholders, so we've got all those arrangements as well. They're basically flats that were sold under the right to buy.
Gotcha.
Since we've taken over or before with the council, so there's a lot of complexity around that. We've got 70 shops. We also build houses now for sale, for shared ownership, where people buy 25 or 50%, so it's sort of still sub-market type things. But the market we're in is primarily, in the simplest way of explaining it, for those people who can't compete in the private market like you provide.
Right, so rental effectively for lower income families.
Or purchase, for affordable purchase, I suppose.
Okay, and just to put it into perspective, that 10,000 homes mainly around Peterborough or also in surrounding areas?
Primarily Peterborough, in fact primarily the properties that the council used to have.
So fundamentally then, what's your view on property as perhaps how it's linked in to the population as such?
I suppose probably as a social landlord, it's less from a business context, more of a social one.
Okay.
So it's about communities, places for people to live who perhaps have had problems start in life or hit some problems in their life where they can't compete in the open market. That may be that they're not in employment, but it could be for all sorts of other reasons, marriage. But primarily, I think for me, it's about giving people a good home, probably better home than they could afford if they were competing on the open market. But also, a lot of the work we do is about building up and maintaining that community feeling.
Right.
Because I think it's all very well having a very nice property, but if it's in an area that's not very good, then that's not a nice place to live.
Yeah.
And so we've spent a lot of money, not only improving the properties, which is why we came into existence 7 years ago, but actually about improving the communities.
Okay, so just improving the area. Okay.
So what we've done, which is we actually won a prize for it nationally a few years ago, because you do some of these things and you imagine everybody's doing it, you discover you're groundbreaking. But we set up what we call area panels in 4 of the areas.
Okay.
Which basically elected tenants into groups, and what we said was, look, we want to do some work on these areas, but actually, you could spend hundreds of millions. We've only got 5.
Right.
And so we drew up these neighbourhood plans, but primarily what it basically is, what do those tenants think, talking to their neighbours and other people in the community, we should spend it on. And actually, if we give each of those area panels £100,000 each a year, so it's about £500,000 because it actually spreads over that. Plus, we have about another £500,000 that we do on our projects that we see as well that we need to do. About £1 million a year gets spent on the environment. We realise is on our estate, and our tenants realise is that people on some of our most deprived estates die 10 years younger than they do in places like Houndle or even Newborough or those sorts of things. That's the life expectancy of people in poor areas is less than it is everywhere else. So it's about that sort of thing. So it's that sort of mindset we've got. So it's not about how do we maximise value and all those sorts of things, which is perfectly legitimate thing for people to do. It's more because we come from a social idea or ethos. That's what it's about.
That's what's really interesting to me.